Guys, I know I said in the live feed I wasn't sure if I was going to do another video, but I got to thinking about it and I really wanted to because while it's here, I may as well. You guys know, I don't have my tripod in here right now. I am going to bring it in for the second part of this. You guys know that I love, I do. I love Chris Reeve's knives. I do. And I have went through a couple stages of that. I said something to Tim about, I had said it in a video, Ann Reeve's knives, and I apologize because when I talked to Tim, he's like, yeah, I hear the Ann Reeve's knives thing, and I do kind of want to apologize to Tim because now that I'm seeing more and more knives that are post Chris, where Chris is no longer at the factory, I'm not seeing a big change. I had mine that was bad, and I had one that, in retrospect, I believe that the customer had done something to. But this is a 2017 model, and is this the Umnumzon folder? I'm gonna make sure because I just decided I was gonna do this just now. But what I wanted to talk about is not so much just the Chris Reeves knives. This, as from the title, because your title always gives it away, I'm not a big fan of Tantos. But when you get one of these, I would have to say this would be one of the only Tantos that I would still think about buying because they're not the same as the others. You've got a hollow ground blade, but this is not such a steep, just straight angle. It's got some belly to it. It is done as a zero. There's some other companies that do it too, but this is more what would speak to me for a Tanto. I'm still not such a big fan of that point there, that secondary point. But when it's done right, these knives are really good. And that does provide you a specific purpose. A snap cut with one of these, that forward point breaks the surface tension of the skin and gets you a deeper cut. That whole thing that Lynn Thompson talked about in the videos about why the American style, the Americanized Tanto, is good for knife fighting. He's not wrong. You can do things with a Tanto that you can't necessarily do with another knife. But in situations you're usually in, it's not going to be something you want. What it does give you, though, is a little forward angle for stuff. You can get on stuff a little bit. So the reason I say that this would be the only one I would buy is because of the way it's done. Not only is it done well and functional and comes extremely sharp if sharpened correctly. You saw how this came in my live feed. But they're done well, they keep them sharp, but they're gorgeous. They really are attractive. That is an attractive line on that knife. It's one of the things I like about my WE 601 is that thickening of material that they just basically sharpened down and made a zero out of. And so it gives it a unique look, it gives it a unique feel. And the fact is, when it comes down to it, you're gonna be hard pressed to find knives with the level of quality that you're gonna get in a Reeves knife. So when I go to that and I say that I don't like Tantos as much anymore, there are some exceptions. I do love these. Now I will say they're a pain to sharpen. They are a pain to sharpen. But when you do it right, the first time it's just a matter of maintaining. So I'll get everything set up. I'll get this turned around. We'll take a look at this. I would much prefer like this. This design is not, I don't like this design as much as the regular Sebenza. If I was going to get one, it'd be a large Sebenza 21 done as a Tanto. So let me get everything set up so I can show you why I really like this. All right, guys, I move my daughter's snacks here. So when you look at these things are always done well. I like the aesthetic of it. I'm not as big a fan of these knives as I am the actual Sebenza. It's got some stuff that just doesn't appeal to me, like this. I'm not a big fan of that little flared out area right there, just because of the way it feels in hand. But the blades on these are done incredibly well. So you can see that I brought back that shoulder that was kind of missing. What someone had done was they had taken this knife and had put a secondary bevel on this zero all the way up at the front. And so I reprofiled the whole thing, took that all the way back to a zero, And when you do that, when you get that full zero convex on that like that, it's gorgeous. And it doesn't even have to be polished like that. And you can see there's just some areas where I just could not. They were deep scratches from what the guy had done before. There's some right there. And then there's some closer up the middle of this where it had just gotten reprofiled to the point. This one's not as bad. It had just been reprofiled so incorrectly to the point that it just was not. I was unable to get that out with just one sharpening. And I didn't want to take the material off anymore because the fact is, it's, you know, there's no need to take that off. I've just zoomed us in a little bit. But when you look at these knives, they are gorgeous. I like some of the blade shape cues, but the things that I don't like are just minor things that are just to me like I know what that's for the external stop pin. I don't know if that's meant to be a finger flipper, but that I don't necessarily like that. And then the only other thing that I really don't like is that little wing that sticks up there, that little flare. And I think it was designed to allow a little bit easier disengagement of the lock. But the thumb studs being an external stop, that's a really cool idea. That way you don't have as much going on the internals. So if you look, there isn't an internal stop pin on this like there is on some of the others. It falls in and this is your stop pin. So, I mean, it's a really cool design. Like all the Sebenzas, all of the Chris Reeves knives, incredibly useful, well done pocket clip. And so the over travel stop on this is the Reeves logo. Just everything about it's really cool. There's only just a couple things that I don't like. I think what has happened is I am just so fond of the Sebenza 21 at this point. Like I didn't like the 25. But yeah, the way that they do their blades it's so good. And the fact is that the reason you get this like this is because this is a hollow, and then they convex grind that off. And I got to give them props. They do it better than just about anybody out there. They're attractive, they're well done, they're sharp. And once you get it done, it's not hard to maintain that convex zero. It's just getting it the first time. So, man, I really like this. I didn't think I would get a taste for Tantos back. I stopped carrying Tantos, I stopped using Tantos, but then I started getting some of these, and I was like, oh yeah, I kind of really want one of these. So that's all stuff. That's 100% the reason why I say the only Tanto I would buy would be these. But I'm curious about something, because now that I have one here, I'm gonna go grab my Sebenza. I wanna see, I think this feels heavier. I think this is a heavier knife than my Sebenza, but I'm gonna go grab my scale and we're gonna check that real quick. So guys, I went and got my scale and my Sebenza, and yeah, it feels a little heavier, but I don't know how much heavier. It is a little bit larger than my Sebenza 21. So the 5 ounces on this one, I need to re-zero that because it came out weird. I wonder if... $5 ounces. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't having an error. So that was the Tanto is 5 ounces. My Sebi is, let's get this on here, 4 3/4 ounces. They're not that much different, but I can feel that is a little bit heavier, just ever so slightly. So, yeah, guys, that's it. I love, like I said, I don't think I could ever get rid of my Sebenza. I mean, it would have to come down to a can my daughter skate this month kind of a deal before I would start getting rid of things like my Sebenza and things like that. So I'm a fan of these. Like I said, this model, there's nothing really wrong with this model. It's just not one that I prefer. But yeah, these things are gorgeous. And then I had somebody ask me something. So you guys know I refinish knives and things like that. But you know, somebody asked me, how many times could you refinish the Sebenza before you start getting issues with dimension? And I'm gonna say almost, the way I do it, it's almost an unlimited number of times. Because I'm not changing any of the important features dimensionally. I'm blasting things, but the things that are important get masked. Just in case you guys were ever curious. I don't want to redo the blade on this, so I'm not going to redo the blade, so I don't have to worry about the lock interface on the blade down in here. So the areas that I worry about, I mask off the area where the bearings sit, or the washers sit inside on the titanium, and I mask off the lock interface. And so as long as you're not taking material off of that, like if you were to look down in here, the area of the lock interface and the detent ball and everything, they're still the original color because they got masked off. They never got blasted, nothing like that. So as long as you're careful, if it's done correctly, it's pretty much an unlimited number of times that you could refinish this, because that you're not taking very much material off at all when you refinish those knives. So that's it, guys. Chris Reeve Tantos, amazing. It doesn't matter which knife it's on. They're done well. I looked at the ones at the Las Vegas show with Tim and Matt. They're at their table, and they're gorgeous, and they're extremely well done. So just remember, guys, if you want a Tanto, even if it's been, because this really didn't have the shoulder like it should have, I can bring that back. I'm good at that. That's one of the things I am good at, really good at, that is kind of better than a lot of people. And I do it all by hand, and I eyeball things. So, all right, guys, that's it. I got some work I'm going to do. I just wanted to get this video shot real quick. I'll probably text a link to this to Tim. I like Tim Reeves as well. Like if there's people that I'm doing a video about their knives that it's a good video, I'll probably send it to them, because I know they like to hear good things, because talking to Tim, he's like, you get all this all day, like, this is screwed up, this is wrong, I want this done, so you hear negative stuff, and the negative stuff is stuff that sticks in your head. So every once in a while, when somebody has something positive to say, it's just nice to hear it. I get that. I love when customers send me stuff back. So I'll probably send this to Tim so that he can take a look at it, because it is, even at that level where it's a big business, it's still nice to hear somebody recognize that they appreciate the work you do. So yeah, Tim, if you're watching this, I still do appreciate it. So, all right, guys, that's it. I'm out of here. Got work to do. I've got stuff I want to do for the wife, and I got to figure out how I'm going to pay myself. So you guys take it easy. I love you all. I'll see you in the next video. If you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give them a thumbs down. In this corner will be a subscription link. Down here will be a Patreon link if that's something you want to do. Over here's a video that YouTube thinks you like, and then I'm going to pick a video that I think you will like myself and put it in there. And if you want to help support my daughter's ice skating, as always, there's going to be in the description a link to her GoFundMe, which I kind of need you guys to share as much as possible, or kick in on, however you want to do it. So take it easy, guys. I love you, and I'll see you later.